the video starts, make sure you follow our socials in the description and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Welcome back to the Offbeat Podcast, back again this week, and I am joined by a very special guest all the way from Wigan / Bolton sort of area.
Yeah.
Gareth Nuttall's in the building. How are we, mate?
Good, mate. Thanks for having me.
Mate, thank you very much for taking your time to make the journey.
Very nice to get out of Wigan.
Wigan's not too bad.
No, it's alright.
It is a thriving place, especially in the music scene. So we'll sort of dive straight into what you do. So you are a music producer, aren't you?
Yeah.
You were saying it's a little bit weird for you at the moment, sort of being this side.
This side of a microphone is very weird, yeah.
Usually you're over there with your headphones on, with a big mixing desk in front of you.
Keeping myself quiet, yeah.
With a cup of tea in your hand. I'll get it in early because Spangled wanted me to mention about it.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone wants to mention the tea.
I'm confused about this. Why do you drink so much tea?
I don't think I drink that much tea, but apparently I do.
I've had four individual sort of bands and artists message me about it.
I don't think I'm that... I used to be a lot worse than I am now, but I don't think I'm that bad.
Is it just on a studio day? Do you just sort of like chain them back and forth over
and over again? Yeah, but I feel like the bands do as well. Like, so they all call me, but they all join in. They all have... Every time I brew up, they all have one, so they're not all complaining about.
But we have all said... I think it was Ben messaging was like, are you 98% or 99%?
Yeah. To be fair, though, when I used to be worse for having a brew... there was one band and he outbrewed me and I went home devastated. I was devastated.
What band was that?
It was called Loser Puppy.
And you were like, God's sake.
Yeah, but the thing is, he had coffee.
Oh, right. So he must have been like bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, and he has like 3 sugars in his coffee as well. And he had like 18 in an 8-hour window.
How does he sleep?
Yeah, I have no idea. No idea, but I went home devastated. I felt like I was doing like a training montage, and I was like, I'm having him tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm having him.
Well, like Rocky, but when it comes to tea.
Just drinking loads of brews, like, I'm going to beat him tomorrow. I did beat him the day after, but yeah, I went home feeling a bit sick that day.
You were, for God's sake. So you're based in Wigan, aren't you?
In Wigan, yeah, pretty much right in the town centre.
Yeah, and you've had quite a lot of sort of thriving bands come to you for your services recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean... Wigan music scene's gone mental, especially like indie stuff over the last like probably 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, indie in Wigan used to be massive anyway, because like up in the town centre you could go Friday, Saturday night, or even in the week, you could go up in the town centre and there'd be multiple gigs on. Anywhere like those music scene was just amazing, and it just fell off a cliff big time. But then Lottering has started doing well. Obviously Lavums started doing well, and then from there it's all just started to...
You got bands coming through like the Stanleys, haven't you?
Yeah,
and all sort of bands like that.
It's all bubbling up again.
What do you think has been the cause of the growth of the Wigan music scene then?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's a lot of places that are brilliant. Like, I used to work at a venue called the Old Courts.
Oh, nice. Is that in Wigan then?
That's in Wigan, yeah. And they used to do a lot for like up and coming bands. There's a couple of rehearsal spaces opened up. There's a place called a Music Project, which is like a college, but they teach performance as well as like...
Class. So is it like just... How in regards to performance, is it like different modules for different instruments? Or?
Yeah, well, they do like music production, music performance, they do like the media side of it, so like music video and
it's a full
stuff.
scope then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a proper college now.
Yeah.
When it first started, it was like a small... But that's grown almost with the music scene. I mean, Lavums, like the star pupils, basically.
They're
like
massive, aren't they, at the moment? Like, they're obviously doing Robin Park gig, aren't they, on that 4 night they're doing?
It's crazy. I think I'm not sure which night they're doing, but
there's Richard Ashcroft who was saying, weren't we?
Yeah, Richard Ashcroft, Noel Gallagher. I can't remember the other one. I
can't remember the other one, but it's huge weekend.
Yeah,
for
it's coming mad. Yeah, Rich Ashcroft doing 2 nights, isn't he? Which is crazy because I think the actual capacity is something like 12,000.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a lot, especially when you got Lavums. It's a hometown gig,
but it's hometown for Ashcroft.
Ashcroft as well, yeah.
So Lottering is a sporting Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley's a sporting Ashcroft. Mm-hmm. There's another young lad he's like Lawton way, Maxwell Very.
It's like it's like a who's who of a Wigan music scene, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. I'm trying to. I've been messaging Jake from the Stanleys, like, do you need another tech for the Ashcroft gig? Like, give me a girl, I'll jump in your guitar case, like.
Just get me in, please.
Yeah, I'll do anything. I'll sell merch, whatever you want. Just get me in.
I met a lead singer. Is it Tom?
Tom. Yeah.
I met Tom at Real Madrid away.
No way.
I was having a look over, so I was in the stand. Obviously, you're in the gods at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And I was looking over, and I was like, that's Tom from the Stanleys there.
Yeah.
And I was like doing a thing of Googling, being like, it's definitely him. And I was showing my mates, I was like, do you think that's the same person? And I was like, right, we're locked in for half an hour here.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go and say hello. And I went over and had a good chat with him. Because I've obviously interviewed with Zellas and Shade, who they've worked with and stuff. So I was chatting to him a bit about that. But I was like, gotta go and say hello here. I can't regret it, can I?
Yeah, it'd be funny if it weren't him though.
If it weren't him, I would have been like, oh, for God's sake. And I just like slow. But so for whom it goes, I literally went over, said hello, and I was like, you've Tom from the Stanleys. And obviously all his mates just went, Stanleys. Obviously they've heard all about it.
He would have loved it, to be fair.
And I was like, I'm sorry for embarrassing you, but there you go.
Oh no, he would have dined on that all night.
Definitely, 100%, especially in a Man City away end of Real Madrid, out of all the places to be spotted.
Yeah, in another country, like to get spotted in another country, that is, I'd dine on that.
Bit of a cheat when I'm from 20 minutes down the road. But, we'll play it. So, you've obviously been a part of a huge album recently in I Wonder If the World Knows with the K's.
Yeah.
How was it like producing that?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's probably the most excited about any project I've ever worked on.
Nice.
Yeah. We didn't actually know we were doing an album to start with. They came to me like, we're doing next bunch of singles, and we went over to a studio in Leeds called The Nave. We tracked drums. Basically going to be like bringing one out, a couple months later another one, just a run of singles basically to kind of keep them going for 6 months or so. And then I finished one of them, which I think was Chancer.
Nice. Chancer was the first that came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we finished that.
Obviously compared, we're not including Hometown and Sarajevo.
Oh no, yeah, it was the first one of like the new bunch.
Yeah.
And we did that, and then they obviously got the offer for doing an album with Lab. So it was that point then where it was like, right, hold those tracks back and get back in the studio and do another 12 or whatever it ended up being.
It's a lot of pressure in it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure on the songwriters.
Yeah, but it was amazing. I mean, they had them all ready to go. There was like one or two that was kind of nearly finished. They just need like a little bit of kind of finishing touches on. But they had the material. I mean, they've been going for years and stuff. So yeah, they were ready. They were ready for an album. They were just waiting for. They had offers before, especially just before COVID. I know there was a few people kind of sniffing around them then, but obviously COVID.
It's got to be the right time. It's got to be the right time. It's got to be the right money. It's got to be the right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially when obviously if they had done it a year ago.
Yeah.
The gigs might have not been there now. Whereas now they've gone on to Victoria Warehouse, which is
insane. I went to that on Friday night. It was madness.
I went to the Leeds show, so my girlfriend's surprised for tickets. It's the third city I've seen him in now.
Right, wicked.
How mad's that?
Yeah.
Seen him in London, seen him in Manchester, now seen him in Leeds.
Was it the Lafayette one in London? Or?
No, I saw him support Kasabian at the Teenage...
Oh, okay, yeah, Teenage Cancer Trust. Yeah. That looked cool.
Denver Snuts and... was my perfect gig.
Yeah.
It was my perfect gig. Yeah. I had a great time. It's the first time
Was it like Royal Albert Hall, that?
Yes, it's the first time I've been there as well. So have you worked with the K's from the start then?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I technically worked with the K's before the K's were the K's.
Because really?
they came, they were like one of the first bands I had in my studio. It was still Jamie and Dex, but they had another lad at the time called Sam Craigham. And they did, believe it or not, back then they did a version of Dacton and Wonderella.
Really?
Yeah. It weren't quite the same, but it was there. The bones of it were there.
Yeah.
And what's the other tune? I can't remember. We're talking like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But then they came back once they kind of reformed with Ryan. It was a different drummer at the time as well, but they came back with Ryan and did Sarajevo. So that was the first one I did as like the current, the K's we all know kind of thing. And we did Sarajevo, and then obviously that just went mad.
I mean, it's on millions and millions.
Like 7 million or something stupid.
Wow.
But it was one that was like, that was their first single, and like they released it, and I mean, I might be remembering this wrong, but I remember they released it and they were just like, that was the first single, just another kind of local band, and it just got the normal amount of streams, like the friends and family streaming it. And then if I remember it rightly, I might have got this wrong, but I'm sure Jamie messaged me about a month after it had come out saying, have you seen Spotify? I was like, no, why is it? It had like 50,000 plays overnight, and then the next day it had like another 50, and then before I knew it was on like hundreds of thousands.
It's just snowballed.
Yeah, it was when like the whole playlist things was taking off.
Okay.
And it got on one, and then on another, and then another, and another. And I said within like a few months, it was just like, it was getting close to 1 million.
It was astronomical.
And that was the first single, which is just mad. And then from then they've just slogged and slogged. They just gig and gig and gig.
What was it like moving? Because I wanted to talk to you about the singles. Because obviously when you've got Sarajevo and Hometown, which are 2 songs they released years prior to the album.
Yeah.
Did you make any tweaks and changes to them for the album, or did you just leave them as they are?
Sarajevo is not technically on the album. It was on like one of the deluxe versions.
Yes, yeah.
So that's untouched. That's just as was. Hometown, we just redid the drums because that was going on the actual album.
Yeah.
We just needed it to kind of sonically sound similar. So while we're in the studio, and we just got Nathan to redo the drums. Just so we could mix it again and just make it sound like on the album it weren't just dead random one song sounding.
Of course,
completely different.
You need to make it all be the same time.
Yeah.
What is the process of creating an album? Like how long did you spend on it?
Longer than we anticipated with that one. It got a bit pressure built on that one, just like deadline wise. But like I said, because we'd already done like 4, not knowing they were going on the album, we had a head start anyway.
Right.
But then as soon as they said like, right, okay, you need to go back in the studio and do another 11 or 12, whatever it was, we kind of made a bit of a plan. We got the lads in, and you normally do like pre-production.
Okay.
When you're doing a big project like that, you normally do pre-production where you just like set up live, as though it's like a rehearsal, but you record it as well. But you just play through everything, and you just play it. Try anything you want to try before going in the studio. That's the time to do it.
And then would you just listen back to it in your own time and be like, right, I want this,
no, we do it there and then. So like I'm with them in the room, we're just going like, why don't we try this here and why don't we do this and make that section twice as long or half that bit, or why don't we put this in here? And you basically just throw the kitchen sink at it just before you go in the studio. So you go in the studio as prepared as you can, because obviously you don't want to be making tweaks when you've got labels breathing on your neck going like, we need like first mixes next week, and you're still like, oh, we've not finished writing the mid-late yet or whatever. Yeah. So you just kind of just set up like, it's almost like a recorded band practice in a way. As soon as you're happy with all the tracks, then it's just right, okay, let's go and do it.
Let's go and smash it out.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah. And then and then the deadline will start to creep on you, and then you need to sort of just crack on.
Yeah, because like I originally said to him, like, because we already done like 4 tunes, and the K's lads are dead efficient in the studio anyway. And in my head, I was thinking, like, the K's, it's pretty much drums, bass, 2 guitars. It's pretty average kind of setup for a band. So I was like, all right, just come in for September. I just booked out my diary. I was like, just come in the studio for September.
Are we talking like 4 days a week, 5 days a week?
5 days a week. It was like September, 5 days a week.
Hectic schedule.
Yeah, I was like, it's yours. My studio is yours for September. We'll just come in every day and we'll just bash it out. And then as soon as we started like recording the songs, like, oh, I want this because with real strings on it. I want this because with like real piano and that. And then it just like snowballed from there. So like all of a sudden thinking we had a month, we're all like, oh my God, we've only got a month to do this.
Have you learned from that though? Do you think now when you're moving on to, because obviously you've got loads of up-and-coming bands who are going to do like 2 albums in the future, are you going to try and learn from that and maybe book a month and a half, 2 months? Yeah,
well, I would say every song, album's different. So like if a band came to me and you know like their particular style is going to be super layered and you're going to get loads of extra musicians on, you know it's going to take longer. Whereas if maybe like a punk band came in where they want to track most of it live, you know, you might only need a couple of weeks or whatever. It was just, we guessed at what we thought going off past K's songs, what it was going to be like. But you've heard the album. It feels like it's the next step up for them.
It's a huge. I remember you messaged me before the Leeds gig and said the production's mad at the moment, because you messaged me about the visual on stage. Yeah. Jesus, they've taken a step up, haven't they? It's
mad. Yeah, I know they're a proper band, but like when it's bands that you know and they're your mates and stuff, and you go and watch it. It was the same when I went watching the Lottery Winners at Apollo.
Yeah.
And like you kind of have to step back from it and go like, I'm watching this as not my mates on stage. This is like a proper band now.
Yeah.
Like they're an actual huge band, and it was the same with the K's on Friday night. I mean, they'd splashed out on a curtain drop and everything, and I was watching it. I was just like,
it looked good.
This is insane. Like it just looks like a DVD. Like you get like a band's like live DVD.
I was buzzing me in Leeds when I saw him, because I didn't know that Luis from Rosellas is now sessioning with him on keys. So
yeah, it sounds cool as well.
Straight away, because I'd become good mates with Ewan, guitarist from Rosellas after I interviewed him, I think last year sometime.
Yeah, great band.
And straight away, I texted you and I was like, Luis, what's Luis doing here?
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend like nudged me and went, what if he's left him? Why have you done that? And I went, no, he can't have left him. I'd have seen it somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, have I just dropped my foot in it? I mean, luckily, he messaged me and said, no, he's just sessioning now.
No, he's just...
thank the Lord.
Yeah, he's just doing this album tour with them. I mean, when they did they did like a series like in-stores to promote the album, they had it wasn't Lewis for that, they had another lad called Wazza that was doing keys for him on those shows. But yeah, all the big shows, it's been Lewis, like, yeah.
Which is cool. So how did you record the keys then? Because they don't have an established keys player.
No, so anything that was like real piano.
Okay.
So like Valley One,
Yes.
Hoping Maybe's got real piano on it, and a few others have got like kind of background piano. That's Ryan.
Nice.
So
Yeah, because Ryan performs Valley One live, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did that, and then all the kind of electronic-y keys stuff is normally me drawing it in.
Of course.
I literally just like, because I can't play keys at all. So I just literally just get my keyboard out and just draw it in. Or I cheat and I'll mute the keyboard, play the pattern I want, hitting anything, hitting any. So if you unmuted it, it'd be the worst thing you've ever heard in your life.
But you've got the pattern.
And then move it around later.
You've got the bass level, and you can get the notes
so it's
right
like the
from
performance is there, but the wrong notes, and then just change the notes later.
Nice, that's interesting. I didn't know you could do that.
It's cheating, but
Don't matter. You get the same result, don't you?
yeah, exactly. It's just purely because I can't play piano. I wish I could, but I can't play piano.
No. Did you ever get a bug when you're in the studio where you're being like, oh, I really want to? Do you play any instruments?
I play guitar.
Nice.
Yeah. Play guitar and a bit of bass, but it'd make my life a lot easier if I could play piano.
Back in the 90s, for example, with like Britpop and stuff, it was very guitar heavy, very guitar, drums. Whereas now, bringing that extra element, it just gives you the ability to, like, look at Spangled, for example, who we both know quite well. They can do whatever they want with a song because they've got so much variety.
Yeah, we do quite a lot of experimenting with their stuff when they're in the studio, as far as like keys or strings or Jamie loves a thing called a mellotron, which is like have you heard of a mellotron?
No, but
you've heard one.
It sounds like a transformer.
Yeah, it does. You'll have definitely heard one. It looks like a piano or a keyboard, but every time you press a key down, it starts a tape rolling. But every single key is an individual tape reel. So like what they'll do is they'll record like a violin holding a note, and then they'll hold the next note, and record that onto individual tapes. So then as you press the keys down, it starts those individual reels. So you can imagine how unreliable those things are. But obviously these days it's a virtual one of one. Yeah, it's not a real thing. But yeah, Jamie loves a mellotron. We've got, I think, probably half the Spangled tunes have got some form of mellotron on them.
Yeah, it just likes to play around and see what works, definitely. What was the... going back to the keys as well, because as you can tell, I'm a big fan of the keys.
Yeah.
Icarus, what was the inspiration behind the violins at the start?
Well, they always wanted the ramp. It ramps up in the tempo.
Yeah.
And then we got on board a guy called Ben Truman, who is just a musical genius, like annoyingly brilliant on anything. Like he plays guitar, mandolin. He's one of them where like you could give an instrument no one's ever seen before, and within 20 minutes,
figure out.
Oh yeah, within 20 minutes he'll be playing every tune on it. Like, but he does string arrangement. So there's a few songs that we wanted strings on, and we knew what we wanted them to do. So like from especially like Icarus as well, from where it kicks in, we kind of knew what we wanted it to do. But we said it'd be cool to, before the song kicks in, let's see what he can come up with. So he wrote that arrangement, and then obviously he drafted in some of his friends to play it. We went again at that studio in Leeds, and they did it as a quartet with Thingy from Seblo as well. Kate from Seblo was one of them. He wrote that and they played that, but then the weird noises at the beginning, that was a complete accident.
Really?
Yeah. So we knew
it sounds so planned.
It's because
it works.
Yeah, from where like the violins kick in, that's planned, and Ben wrote all that. But all that kind of glitchy, weird stuff at the beginning, that was in the studio. We just said we want some just noises and ambience just to kind of start the album.
Gradually build it up. Yeah.
So we just said like the 4-string player just make some noises for a little bit, and we're just going to record multiple takes. Just make some noises. I'll figure it out later when I get back to the studio. And then in Pro Tools, you have this thing where it's called playlists, where every time you do a take, you can drop it onto another playlist, drop it onto another playlist, and then you can listen through. So like, you normally do it with your vocals, you'll drop all your vocal takes onto playlist, and then you can comp all your best bits together. So, but there's like a shortcut for flicking through to listen to all the different takes. And as I was flicking through, it was just making this weird noise, because obviously they're not really playing anything. It was just
of course,
noises.
it's just random noises.
Yeah, so just flicking through, and I was just doing a shortcut. I was like, that sounds kind of cool. So I literally just like routed my output back in and recorded me flicking through the takes, basically. And then messaged Jamie, and I was like, what do you think of this? Because like, it's weird, but I kind of like it. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, let's keep it in. So yeah, it's all that weird stuff, and then obviously the strings kicking to the actual written bit from there. And then you build up,
and obviously it's just perfect for a walk-on song as well, because the thing is with a lot of bands is they can't walk onto their own music.
No. Yeah.
They can't, can they?
Yeah, no, I mean, I know a lot of bands.
Because obviously you need to play it.
So, yeah. Bands love picking a daft tune to walk out to, don't they? But yeah, that was the first thing everyone said. As soon as Ben showed them the idea for what he'd wrote for that first bit, everyone was just like, oh my God, how good is that going to be with the lights off? That was the first thing we all thought was live. This is going to be mega. They're going to have to do a show at some point with a.
They are. I think at the moment in time with the band, they're one of my top bands I want to get on here. Obviously, I do know I need to grow and do who knows what's happening in the future, but I'd love to just sit down, just learn about their thought, because when you listen to an album and stuff, like there's so many questions you want to ask.
Yeah.
Like so many in depth. Like for example, Icarus. Did they think of the strings and think that's an arena song? That because for example, I saw Comeback Kid.
Okay.
With Kasabian.
I think you get that with a lot of songs where I know you're writing for an album and you're writing for that medium of recording and people listening to it on headphones or whatever, but you do know, like, I know when they first started recording No Place Like Home, they were just like, this is going to go off live.
Yeah.
That song, it just sounds rowdy, doesn't it? Like, you just know that one's going to be, as soon as that bass riff kicks in, like, it's just going to be beers thrown everywhere.
It's all hell breaks loose.
So you do know, you have to plan ahead for, you're writing for an album, but you're going to have to play it live, and you want it to translate to the audience you've got as well, like, because it's quite a rowdy crowd they've got.
Yeah. So do you tech as well at gigs, or do you just do production?
No, I did a little bit years ago. Nothing major. I don't like doing live sound.
Why?
It's too stressful.
You have to be on the ball, don't you?
It's just too. Yeah,
I've got a thing now, because whenever I go to a gig, I'm now in the old category where I want to stand 3/4 of the way back, and that is usually where the sound desk is.
Yeah.
So I love turning now and just watching the sound desk and seeing what they're doing, because I've got no idea what any of it does.
Yeah.
And it looks super stressful.
I didn't enjoy it because I was working at a venue where you're meeting the bands 20 minutes before they're going on.
Right.
And
they're trying to convey to you what they want.
Yeah, you don't even know the songs or anything, and just chances of stuff going wrong is ridiculous.
And all you can see is just up.
So I'd maybe do it for, like I say, if a band was like, oh, let's take you on a tour, then maybe. But in saying that, I don't like loud.
Oh, really?
No, after a gig when I get home, it like the ringing ears thing. I hate it. No, I hate it. So yeah, I'm not cut out for doing live. I know a few of my mates do front of house like at a high level, and like I'm the same when I go and watch them. It's like it just looks too stressful. I was at one gig, a mate of mine was doing front of house, and it was at Apollo.
Nice.
And they were about 2 songs from the end of a gig, and a beer just landed on the desk. And all the faders just went vroom and shut down apart from like 2, and he had to do the rest of the gig on like 2 faders. He was like banking back and forth, and I was just like, no, that's not for me. That's not for me. If something goes wrong in the studio, you're just like, let's go and have some dinner.
Let's deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll figure it out when we get back. So I'm much more, much more cut out for studio.
Over relax. Well, you were talking a little bit before we started filming about the singles work, and you love working on singles.
Yeah.
Is that due to the sort of experimental sort of approach of singles, or what is it that really attracts you to singles?
I think it's when you're working on singles, like you're meeting loads of bands all the time as well.
Of course, yeah.
So it's just good. It's like keeps you on your toes, because like you literally might be because like normally you do a single takes 2 days. So if you're doing like 2 singles a week, you might be doing an indie tune at the beginning of the week and then like a metal tune at the weekend, and it's like it just keeps everything dead fresh. I love doing an album. But you get like you're in that thing.
You're in a zone, aren't you?
Yeah,
where you're only looking straight ahead.
Yeah, you've got
look
2 months or whatever it is of that's it. That's all you can think about. And I don't know what other producers are like if they're the same, but like I go home and that's all I'm thinking about. I cannot like get out of that. But a single, obviously, you're only in for 2 days. And it's done. Like they're literally, other than the mixing, they're pretty much ready to walk away with it after 2 days, ready to put on Spotify or whatever.
Nice.
And then the next band comes in, next band. So, yeah. And it seems to be the way these days. There's not many labels and stuff kind of putting up the money for albums now.
You don't need albums. I've said it for a few times. You only need an album, in my opinion. This is someone who doesn't really matter. Who cares? But I feel like you only need an album when you have a big headline tour, and by big tour, I'm talking academies.
I think you know when you're ready for an album.
Yeah, because
I think someone tells you.
I saw the K's November sell out Manchester Academy, and they had no album, and I thought perfect.
Yeah.
We didn't need it at that stage.
No.
If you Victoria Warehouse, then it becomes different.
Yeah.
When you're doing like Rock City, Nottingham, going up to Glasgow, you're doing Newcastle, maybe that's
when you're going outside your kind of home city, and you're still doing 1,000-2,000 people. Not even in Europe. It's not a hometown gig, and you're still doing them numbers.
Yeah, thousands.
You're ready for an album.
We'll have a short break there.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back into part 2, guys. And I want to talk a bit more about the other bands that you work with as well, like the Lost Ruiners, Spangled, Roller. And then we'll answer a few of the viewer questions as well.
Cool. Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
See you in part 2. I'm going to put you in a spot.
Okay.
Obviously, I know you do like working with all of them because you work with single after single after single, so you're not going to work with people you don't like. But who is that one artist where they're messaging you like, yes, I'm working with them? Like, who you're like, yes?
I suppose like for different reasons. So obviously, like when the K's lad said, "Oh, we've got an album day," obviously that was like, "Oh, that's gonna be mint." Like knowing you're just spending 6-7 weeks.
We're good lads,
Yeah, we've just like I've known them now, like bordering on like coming up to like 8-9 years. And it's just like getting paid to spend like 7-8 weeks with your mates. Yeah, it's amazing. And then there's other ones where the musicians are just insane. We just like you look forward to it because you just want to see them play.
Oh, nice.
Like there's a band from I've known since we were kids. I was in a band with the drummer and I went to college with a couple of them. A band called Red Clogs.
Oh, nice.
From our way, and they are just insanely good musicians. Like Andrew, who plays guitar. I went to high school with him.
Nice.
And even in high school, it was just like
you knew.
Oh yeah, it's unreal. Like
if you don't make it, no one is.
So you honestly, like this is not exaggerating. You can put him next to any guitarist in the world. I genuinely like. I know it sounds like over the top, but
I mean,
he's unbelievable.
You spend more time anywhere else, like you.
Yeah, he's and I've known him since we were like 12 as well.
Yeah,
he'll bring a guitar. He's like, "Do you want to go listen?" Like, I'm not playing guitar in front of you. Not a chance. No way. I'm like, leave it here. I'll have a go after you've left. I'm not playing in front of you. But yeah, so it's like sometimes I love working with bands for that reason as well, just because you want to watch. As just a music lover, you just want to watch people playing, and then obviously. There's ones where you just know it's going to be a laugh as well, like Spangled. When they did their latest EP, they're crack as well.
I've been asked a few times about sort of my favourite podcasts recently, from some of my friends and stuff. I can't get Spangled out of my head.
Yeah, they're lovely lads.
They're just when they walked in, it was like having 2 golden retrievers running the door.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Immediately they walked in with 4 cans of beer, and I went. This is going to be great. I knew it immediately. Yeah. I took a mick out of him for buying Cronenberg, and I was like, I don't know why you bought them. Yeah. But I was like, straight away.
They're so nice. As bonkers as they are, they're lovely. Yeah. They're so nice. But yeah, I go, some of the days we've done with them, I go on, my face is aching from laughing. Like, they're just, you just like, because like where my room's set up, it's like quite long. So sometimes I'll not realise I've zoned out for a little bit. And I'll just try and pick up on the conversation. Like, I've just been editing a vocal or whatever, and it's like, I'll just try and like join back in the conversation. Like, not a chance. I don't even know what
around sweaty ways in 5 minutes.
Just leave them to it. I don't know what they're going on about. Like, sometimes I don't even think they know what they're going on about.
No.
It's like they're talking another language sometimes. Like, I love them to pieces though.
Do you love the experimental takes that they're taking on their music at the moment in time? Because they haven't had one single like another.
No.
Everything's unique.
I think like if you speak to them just like their influences. I think it was always going to be like that.
Yeah.
The kind of inspirations that they're pulling in.
Jamie's big on guitars, isn't he? He's big on like your Jimi Hendrix and
he loves like
60s,
Floyd
70s,
and stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, so you're as soon as you get that kind of like they love indie and they love Floyd, it's obviously always going to be like
fluid.
It's a bit psychedelic. And Jamie's like is phenomenal guitar player. He is phenomenal. Like he's one of the most accurate guitar players I've like worked with. He can do like 20 takes and they're just identical, absolutely identical. Yeah.
Makes your job easy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like when you go see him live, because they've only got one guitarist. Sometimes it sounds like there's about 3 of them.
Yeah, I've never seen him live, and I've said to him, because they've just announced a tour, I think we're not doing Manchester yet, but I need to go and see him.
Yeah, you should.
I just need to.
They're amazing. Yeah, they're really good. Obviously, I've not seen them since they got new drummer, but like I said, Jamie live, it sounds like there's about 3 or 4 guitarists on stage.
And then Ben's just got the stage presence of any lead anyway.
Oh, he's mad, and he's like someone's just like wound him up backstage and just let him go. Like just feed him for blue Smarties and just like, yeah, there you go and let rip. Yeah, I can't imagine what he's like at home.
Yeah, I was thinking because I think he lives with Jamie as well.
Does he?
I think he does. Did they mention that? I think they might.
I'm not sure, but I'm like in two minds. Like I'm thinking, does he go home and just like puts his slippers on and chills, or is he like bouncing off the walls at home as well? But I think he's probably bouncing off the walls.
I think he's bouncing off the walls.
I don't know who I'm kidding though. He's definitely bouncing off the walls. But yeah.
Speaking of like bouncing off the walls and sort of something you alluded to in the first part that I really wanted to dive into was the ability to not be able to sort of switch off. Yeah. Especially when you got like an EP or an album and stuff.
Yeah.
So are you just constantly throughout the night just being like, oh, could have this?
Yeah.
How do you switch off?
Just being self-employed can be overwhelming at times. But yeah, sometimes you are sat at home and like if something's been bugging you that day, like we couldn't figure out a section of a song of what struggles are, I'm literally watching TV and I'll just be like, oh, I'm going to try that tomorrow. Or like, I don't have guitars at home.
Okay. Is that for a reason? Is that to purposely?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I've got 2 kids now, so I think I'm going to start taking a couple of them so I can get them into it. But if there was a guitar there, that's probably why I'd probably be picking it up and I'd just be like, right, I need to figure that out ready for tomorrow. But I was like, no, I need to chill.
Family life's important.
Yeah. But yeah, you randomly get it. Even just like weeks after, you might have a song that you've finished and it's been mixed and it's out, and you go, "Oh, I could have done that."
Yeah,
could have done that.
But then you can use it for the next song, can't
exactly,
you?
You
can work on.
There's always that element of like a song's never finished. It's just when do you let it go? Yeah.
We say that with stand-up comedy as well. So I'm a big stand-up comedy fan.
Yeah.
And the best stand-up comics out there always say, if you're really a fan, see a tour show at the start and a tour show at the end, because they'll be, even though they're the same material, same hour, different nuances, different pickups, different. You'll learn that it's totally different.
It's morphed throughout the tour kind of thing. Yeah. That's why I love watching. One of my favourite comedians is Ross Noble.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Because
he's wacky and wild.
I don't think you could watch him probably 300 nights in a row and it'd be completely different. He's I think he has the best...
His appearance sums him up.
Definitely.
Sometimes when you look at someone you think, you shouldn't sound like that, or you shouldn't... You know what I mean? Whereas him...
Oh, it's bang on. It's bang on, yeah. Because he literally... I think he does come out on stage with the full intent of like, I'm going to talk about this, and this. And he comes out and he'll go like, what's your name? And he's gone. And he's off on one then. It's just like, oh, it's just carnage.
Like a little child energy.
Just ADHD summed up, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I love that. I mean, I was watching Ricky Gervais.
Nice.
At the beginning of this tour he's done. And he even said at the beginning of that, he was like, this is kind of like the warm-up.
Yeah.
He's like, so a lot of these jokes, I don't know I'm going to finish them yet. We'll see what happens throughout the night.
Do you find yourself doing that a lot of times? So say, for example, if you are doing like an album or an EP and you've done one song and it takes you, I don't know, a month to get the album done, do you find yourself going back to that original song, or once it's done, it's done?
Yeah, no, especially with albums, it's not finished really. You don't kind of get like 2 weeks in and half it's finished and you do like the last week you're probably still working on all the tunes.
Nice.
That's how I do it anyway. You're literally still going back and forth because you might be doing something where you think a song's finished, and then you'll be doing something for one of the later ones, and you're like, oh, this particular tone, even if it's just like this guitar tone, I think that'll sound better than what we did, and you might redo stuff. We did that quite a few times on the K stuff, where it's like you get like towards the end of the album, you'll start recording a certain guitar. Oh, why didn't we put this guitar on that tune? And just open it back up and just redo it.
Nice.
Yeah, so you do get a lot of that going back and forth. That's why I think album it's such a big commitment.
It's huge. It's a long, like you were saying. You've got
just mentally, not even like financially. I mean, like just mentally, it's just a big commitment because I think bands are the same. It's hard to put your brain in that space for that amount of time and fully be like concentrating on it. I think as soon as you get to the end of an album, you're a bit like. Whoa.
I mean, you've got to play them songs every week.
Yeah.
And you're like, just listen to them and keep going.
I think obviously it's nice to have that because I think we finished the K's album in like back end of like October. So obviously they had a little break from it, and then they started touring it in like it was like March, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But if I do forget that sometimes. Like I'll do that now, and then that's like that chapter's gone for me, and you think, well. They're playing them songs.
It's only just starting for them.
Potentially forever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why they can't have like a really long career, but if they do keep going, they might be playing some of them songs 10, 15 years from now.
Hometown's never going to leave a set, is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a few that they'll always come back to.
Yeah.
I mean, Sarajevo's already 6 years old and they still play it.
Yeah.
So.
And it's still the closer, and it's still the night. It's what everyone wants.
Yeah, but yeah, it's mad to think that like when I'm done, I send it off for mastering. It's like I'm done, but there you go. You've got to
now
go and take that into the world. Yeah.
Who are your favourite producers at the moment? Do you have any that you look at and you're like, oh?
I have loads, absolutely loads. I'm like going back to being able to not switch off. Like at night, I love watching like podcasts with producers just talking or studio documentaries. I just love anything to do with.
See, I love podcasts.
Yeah.
Love podcasts, as you can tell.
I've got like in the last year or so, I've got like really into them, and there's a few really good ones for production as well.
Nice.
There's that one called Tape Notes. That one's a bit different because with that one, it's not just the producer they talk to.
These all UK based.
Yeah, Tape Notes is John Kennedy.
Oh, cool. Nice from Radio X.
Yeah. So what he does is every episode they get an artist and the producer who did the album, and they get them in a room together and they talk about making the album.
Class.
And it's brilliant. It's really good. So that one is nice because you see both perspectives from the artist and the producer. But yeah, there's loads of stuff. I mean, Eric Valentine is one of my all-time favourites. Rich Costi's. But yeah, I could name a million.
You could go on and on and on.
Yeah. There's some where about one particular album as well, where it's like I love that one album, or just somewhere it's like I love their entire career.
Is that your sort of genre of music that you love to listen to then, sort of like your bands and your rock and stuff, or are you completely like left field as well?
I listen to absolutely anything. I mean, it's a bit weird that I've kind of ended up, like my bread and butter kind of work is indie, because like growing up I was a pop punk kid.
Oh yeah.
All the bands I was in were all pop punk.
So we're talking like Good Charlotte...
Blink
182, some 41, Bowling for Soup, and them sort of bands.
Well, my first band was practically a Green Day tribute band.
I'm going to see Green Day in June.
Yeah, they're playing Isle of Wight, aren't they, as well?
Yes, they're playing Isle of Wight on the
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Saturday, I want to say.
It's a strange choice for headline.
Sunday, I think, is Pet Shop Boys.
They can't get like... Yeah, that's so true. I saw a Green Day, it's like, Isle of Wight.
I think the three headliners are Pet Shop Boys, Green Day, and Prodigy.
Mad. Yeah, it's mad.
It's like they've just Isle of Wight have just done a festival, Luke Bardsley, and thought, play to me.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's mad. Like, if I'm being totally honest, when I was in bands and stuff, I hated indie.
Really?
Yeah, hated it. Absolutely. Like I say, I was pop punk kind of emo-y stuff. I was one of them where it was like I just tried to find bands no one had heard of. Like I loved listening to bands like you go.
Manchester's perfect for that. There's so many venues.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like I would literally even like go on at the time it was MySpace, but we'd go on MySpace and find bands in America that had never even come to the UK.
Oh, nice.
And just like so a lot of my favourite bands now, like people go, who's your favourite band? And I'll name a few, and they're just like never heard of any of them. And then it was obviously open in the studio. Wigan is so heavily indie,
huge,
that I've learned to appreciate it. It's a bit strange that it kind of became a bread and butter, but I love it now. absolutely love that. I love that, working with that kind of stuff. Anything, if it's guitars, I'm happy.
Would you ever go non-guitars? Say, for example, if like a rapper came to you.
Oh
and was
yeah,
like,
I do a few. Yeah, I do a few.
Nice.
Yeah. I've done quite a few in the past. I'd love to do more, and like I definitely have got a soft spot for pop as well. I love pop music. I think that's more the producer side of me though.
You can be very experimental on pop music because there's no boundaries, is there?
And it's just the fact that when you put it on, just like, how on earth have they made it sound that good? If you don't like the tune, you're just like, but it sounds so shiny and brilliant. And it's like, how have you possibly done that? Like, don't get me wrong, I know they're in £1 million
£1 million, yeah. It's the equipment is. Yeah. I mean, you've probably got very expensive equipment, but they've got on and on and on.
Insane budgets and stuff, but yeah. So I love pop for that. Like, you just put it on, just go like, how is that possible? Like, it just sounds so insanely perfect. So it's nice to try to pull that into indie every now and again. Obviously, you want some indie where it's like rough around the edges and it's guitars and it's kind of bordering more towards like punk, especially if you think kind of like Libertine stuff.
Yes,
like that.
Yeah.
It's meant to be a bit scrappy and guitars aren't 100% in tune and all that kind of stuff. But it's nice to pull in pop elements. So there's a lot of bands now that like doing a lot of like the experiment with like electronic drums and stuff. There's a few bands where I've done stuff with them now where they've got a drummer, but on the record there's no drummer on it. It's electronic drums and stuff.
And they just adapt to it live.
Yeah. I mean, some drummers you'll mention it and it's like, well, how do you feel about doing this? And they might be a bit reserved, but when they hear it and they can kind of like wrap their head around why you've done it, then most of them, fingers crossed, understand it and it sounds cool. But yeah, I love doing anything like that. Anything where I get to kind of experiment and program stuff, and I feel like that's when I do my best work, when a band go like, no, go for it. Like, this is the idea, but run with it. I do get lost in it. There's a few bands where like I'll turn around to them after like a couple of hours and go, I'm so sorry, you must be so bored. You've just been staring at the back of my head for like 2 hours while I've just been like drawing stuff in. That. But yeah, that's I feel that's when I'm at my best, when I'm kind of just like, just run with it. Yeah, just run with that. Whatever you want to throw at it. If it sounds rubbish, we'll try something else.
We'll play around. Yeah. And how do you find sort of having new clients, new bands, new artists come to you? Do they always come to you? Do you ever go out there and say, I want to work with you, I'm going to message you directly? Yeah,
you do get that. It's a bit of both. I mean, I've been really lucky that, obviously when I first opened my studio, I was only 21 when I first opened my studio. So that's
a bold step.
Yeah, it was scary.
Self-employed at 21's mad.
Yeah, it was very, very scary. I can't, like, looking back now, I just think like that was a bit mad.
Yeah. You couldn't do it now because you were too kids.
It was the perfect time to do it, I suppose, when I didn't have a mortgage and all that to be worried about.
Is it just word of mouth in your industry then?
Yeah, that's the best kind. Obviously I get the odd one where they'll ring up and they've just searched recording studio and it's the nearest one. You get a few of them. But it normally is like, I get a message like, I had one this morning, it was just like, oh, we've listened to some of the stuff you've done, and that was a band from Glasgow. So I've listened to some of the stuff you've done, like thinking of maybe coming down and doing some tracks. Just all word of mouth. I suppose it would be if you're in a band and you look up to other bands that are doing really well, and you see something and go, I like the sound of that. Who did it? Like, I want to go and work with whoever did that. I was the same when I was in bands. Like, if someone brought out a record where I was like, that sounds wicked, first thing you do is look on the back of the CD, see who the producer was, like, I want to work with them.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford it half the time, but so that word of mouth is pretty much the best one. But every now and again, like, I'll see a band live or hear something and just be like, I would love to work with them. So just shoot me a message saying, love your stuff. Like, if we get a chance to work on something, then that'd be wicked.
What sort of, say if you could name me like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 bands right now that you really want to work with, is there any that spring to mind? Just artists, if you want to leave it to like pop artists or whatever.
I mean, obviously it depends. Obviously, talking like Cloud9, Dream World.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about like people you've never worked with, like never had an interaction with.
I mean, as far as like bands from around here that I love and would love to work with. I mean, like we were chatting about Rosellas before. I'd love to work with them. I saw them supporting Stanleys at Academy and super impressed with them. I saw the Claws were supporting the K's on Friday night. Dead impressed with them. I'd love to work with them. So yeah, there's loads. There's a band.
You could have fun with Rosellas though. Because they have so obviously you've got Louise on keys. You've got You've got Drew at the front.
Yeah,
You've got
you can
Mark
tell
on
just
drums.
watching them. Like the
Mark
super
on drums
tight.
is the drummer's sensational, and he's left-handed as well. Like,
yeah,
he don't play the drums like anyone else.
yeah.
Like he plays it. I don't know what.
Does he play open-handed? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he plays open-handed.
So he plays right-handed kit, but plays
but
left-handed.
It's like I was watching him and I was like, I like it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? When you just look at it like
one of my favourite drummers is like that. Like a guy called Leon Rubin.
I'm pretty sure he plays like that. I might be wrong, but I was just like, he plays. He's just so great.
Yeah,
he's just great.
they all look super. I mean, they always post them videos on like their Instagram of them just
Of
playing.
them playing,
like, yeah, and even them, just you can just tell they're class musicians.
Yeah.
But yeah, if talking like Dream World, then obviously I'd love to work with bands like Foo Fighters or whatever. But that's never going to happen.
Yeah, but that's the ultimate be all.
Yeah, that would be like career.
Imagine having them down in a day and just being like, that's Foo Fighters down.
in Wigan. Dave Grohl's been Wigan. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Just take Dave Grohl for a pie for his dinner, like. That'd be fun.
With all the stereotypes, What is, because there's a few questions about sort of equipment that you use as well.
Yeah.
One of them was like, what is the cheapest but most sort of time-saving equipment that you have? Is there anything that you couldn't live without? Like,
I'm trying to think without getting like too nerdy.
I'm presuming, by the way, the person who's asked this is probably looking for a nerdy answer.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, I suppose like one
because that is a very specific question.
Yeah. There's a thing called Vocaline, and that is like having an assistant in the studio.
Really?
And that is like, so you get like one vocal, you set that as like your target vocal, and then if you've done like loads of backing vocals or loads like double tracking, you just highlight the lead vocal and then whatever you want the other ones, all the backing vocals, and just press one button, and it snaps all the time and all the pitch together.
Oh, class.
And it saves hours. It saves hours and hours and hours of work. So that one is a massive time saver. And if we're talking nerdy, then things like there's a plugin called Soothe. That's the same.
I'm just happy with this, that it records on one audio track and separate.
Yeah.
But I only ever use the one audio track because I'm not a big editor.
Yeah.
So it's more of a case of that's easy.
Yeah.
And for what I need it.
I'm the same. I'm like.
Anything to streamline your life is what you need.
I'm quite proud to say I'm lazy in the studio, as in like if I can find a quicker way of doing something, I'm doing that. Yeah. It's like I know people who've sat in with mixing and stuff, and they're just like, "Why have you not done it this way?" And it's like, "Oh, that's too much faff. It's way too much faff. Like I'll do it this way. Like I just want to be able to dive into things as quickly as possible. If I have to spend an hour setting something up, not interested.
Yeah,
not interested.
We don't want
it's a vibe killer straight away. Yeah. Especially if a band are there sat waiting to go, and you're like, "Oh, can we just do this? We're just setting this up and we're doing this," and the band are just like, "Oh, just want to play."
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. If you can get someone set up and going straight away. I know we had like, to kind of go back to the K's a little bit. We had a bit like that with Nathan, the drummer. On the record, we were trying to be as detailed as we could with the drums, and we literally tuned the snare to the key of the song.
Yeah,
which is tedious thing. It means literally after every drum take you've got to check the tuning of the snare, make sure it's not drifted, and I feel so bad for him. It was like, remember we had that like heat wave at the beginning of September last year?
Yes, yeah.
It was that week.
Oh.
And we were recording in a church, so imagine how many windows are in there. Hottest day of the year. Can't have fans on because you're recording, it picks it up. And Nathan had to record a full album in like 2 days on drums, and he just wanted to go. He just like, I mean, you've seen him play, he's rapping it. He just wants to play, and he just wanted to go. And after every take, we're like, "Oh,
how does that work when you?" So, being a bit more sort of technical, when he's playing just the drum parts, is he got headphones on, listening to the rest of the band play, or
you normally have guides? So
right.
You'll do a dead rough like scratch track. So he'll just be playing to like, in effect, a live version.
But it's very, very,
very
rough and ready.
He's just playing to that. I mean, Nathan's that good. He could probably just play it to a click anyway, with nothing. But yeah, he was getting a bit frustrated. I know on the second day, on the first day, sorry, at the end of the day, one of the songs got like a drum solo as it's dying out, and he was doing it, and he'd been playing all day. He was wet through with sweat, and we like kept tuning the drum. Like, can you have a minute while we tune the drum? And he was just like, I just want to go, I want to go. And then at the end of the day, we just saw 2 drumsticks go flying across the room. And he was like, I'm done, I'm going home. He was like, he had a bit of a strop and he just like, I'm done for the day.
But you can appreciate that when he's sweating.
Oh, he was wet through.
Yeah.
I felt so bad. Like, we were all in the control room in air conditioning and like, all that.
You were having a great time.
He was, after every take, he was
Cup
like,
of tea in your hand.
yeah, he's like, he had a fan behind him. After every take, he was like sticking his t-shirt over the fan and just having a minute and then like going again. Like, oh, it was bad. It's like the chance of it being in that week. Oh, it was horrible. Every time I walked in the live room to go and chat to him, I was like, oh, I can't even stand in here. And I'm playing drums for 10 hours or whatever it was. Yeah, bless him.
Do you get a question that I kind of wanted to end? Well, a couple like quick fire ones. Well, this one's probably quite a detailed answer. But when you're watching a track live, so say for example, like you went and saw the K's at Victoria Warehouse, how much pride do you get in watching them perform your tracks that you've helped create live?
Friday night was probably the one where I've like had the most like, I felt like a mega fan. I had my phone, I was like filming every single song and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah, it's weird, especially I think as well, like especially with them, because Jamie's lyrics are so honest.
Open. They tell a story.
So honest.
Black and Blue, for example, is just such great storytelling.
So like when you spend like 7-8 weeks with a band and they're telling you what the songs are about and like they go like you kind of go through all that with them and then 6 months later you see, I mean that album's only been out 2 weeks and 3,500 people knew every single word.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this is madness, it's mad. But yeah, I was like a proud dad.
Yeah,
proper felt like a proud dad.
Were you listening to certain bits being like, I did that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, there's like little bits. Obviously, when you're producing, if you play this, obviously I play guitar, so there is bits in most songs where like I'll write a little bit or like suggest like, oh, change it, why you play it like this, and when it's coming up in the set, you're kind of like, oh, you're waiting for it. It's like that little bit, and like, and I'm guessing a lot of bands they play with backing tracks now. So there's quite a funny one with them with Got a Feeling, where when we did that track years and years and years ago, when I was mixing it, I was like, oh, the last chorus. I had an idea for a harmony, so I just grabbed the mic while I was in the studio and I recorded the harmony singing it, and I cannot sing. So I just buried it dead quiet and sent it to James like, can you come back like whenever and record this? And James was like, oh, just leave that on. And we forgot all about it. And it was only when we were doing...
Still on now?
Yeah, it was only when
I'm going to listen to that and know that, I can't wait.
We did, for the album, we did like a commentary version of the album where they were talking about it. So we had to like load up the songs. And we were like looking through and we went, oh my God, we forgot about that. And we soloed it and he was like, that's me singing. And we was like, we completely forgot all about it. So now when it's like you go and see them live, it's funny because like...
You're playing.
Technically I'm singing to 3,500 people, like... I was just like, oh no, please.
Do you know what's meant about that?
Yeah.
You technically played... You this summer, you're playing Leeds Festival.
Yeah, I'm technically supporting Blink.
You're supporting Blink 182.
Yeah, it's bonkers, that, innit? They'll probably, now I've said that, Jamie will probably go in and edit it out. And then yeah.
Get it gone. Yeah. I also wanted to get a producer's viewpoint on the album as well. Obviously, we dived in great detail, but just put it simply, what is your favourite song on I Wonder If the World Knows?
Throw It All Away. Definitely.
Nice.
Quick, easy answer for that one. Yeah, that was the one where when we were doing the pre-production, where we're just playing them live. Like I say, it's almost like doing...
That's Jamie's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jamie said in Leeds, I remember Jamie saying, that's my favourite song for the album because it's one where he introduced Luis on keys.
Yeah.
Why is it your favourite then?
I don't know. It was just like I said, we were doing the pre-production and there was when we were doing pre-production, we probably did about 20 songs so that we can whittle it down and pick all our favourites. And as soon as they played me that one, I was just like, that one, that is the one. I know we did that commentary thing for the album, and we were going through, and Jamie kind of jokingly, like every time, he's like, this one's my favourite on the album, and then the next song, this one's my favourite on the album. But I think he's settled on it for a few weeks. Yeah, I think that one, he said that's his favourite as well. I don't know what it is about it. It's just like, it just ticks a load of boxes for me, that one. Like, even if it weren't an album I'd worked on,
You'd love it.
I'd love that tune. Yeah, it's just a great tune.
And then, is that your favourite song you produced all time, or what's your favourite all time? This is a big question, I know.
Oh God.
What's your favourite single you produced?
Oh.
Or at least a few, so you can say 3 to 5.
Maybe not one I've produced, but one I was involved with was the first Lottery Winners album. I weren't producing that album. I was just like additional engineer. So that album more so than one individual song, because that was when we did that a lot of that at Rockfield. It was like a lot of the Oasis stuff, and that was done. And that was probably the first big project I've ever been involved with. And every time I hear that, even if I see them live now and I hear those songs, I just feel like I'm back at Rockfield in Wales. And I just like, when we did the first listen back with them, like the songs weren't even finished, but when we did like a recap of what we'd done while we were there, and we were all just sat in the control room listening to it, we were just like, this is mad, this is so good, and we were all like so proud of it. And like I said, as soon as I hear any of them songs now, I'm there. It like just shoots you back to that place. Yeah. So like, and I love Rockfield. That's a magical place. That
it's like a mecca of music.
Yeah. People, when I said I was going, like people were like, oh, you can feel the history. And I was like, shut up, no, you can't. You can't feel the history of a room. And I got there, I was like, oh, never mind. Yeah,
I felt like Royal Albert Hall, you know.
Back where? Sorry.
When I went to Royal Albert Hall, but with the Kasabian gig, I walked in and I looked around and I went, wow.
Yeah.
I've never been here before. Why have I never been here before?
Yeah.
This is special.
Yeah.
You get that feel in certain places, don't
Yeah,
you?
definitely. I mean, we got to there, and there's 2 studios on that complex. It's on a farm. And when we first got there, Joe, the in-house engineer, he just took us on a bit of a tour. And we walked in one of the bedrooms. It's residential as well, Rockfield. And he took us in one of the bedrooms. He went, this would have been Freddie's room. And we were just like, oh my God. It's just weird. Why are we here? Like, Freddie Mercury recorded, like, Bohemian Rhapsody here. Why are we here? Like, what is going on? It's just weird. And obviously, like, while we were there, I'd not seen the Supersonic documentary yet. And I watched it while I was there. Obviously, a lot of it's filmed there. Yeah. It's like, so yeah. And every that album, I'm always just like, that's special for me, that one.
It's surreal, definitely. Yeah. Mate, thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me. It was good fun.
Where can we find you on social media?
Gareth Nuttall, producer, on Instagram.
And the studio name, please?
The Lounge.
The Lounge.
Well. I don't really use any other. I should, but I can't wrap my head around like Twitter and stuff. Well, X, whatever it is.
It sounds mental. Obviously, I do a podcast, but I'm not big on social media. No. I'm just trying to learn it and just get through it.
Yeah.
I'm not as big on social media either.
I use Instagram.
This is why I get this on, because I love meeting people. Meeting people is the best thing.
So I've yet to come across like any bad experience. Touch wood.
Yeah.
Any bad experiences with fans? Like, everyone's just lovely. I didn't. That's the best thing I think when I got into doing this line of work. Like, I thought it'd be uber competitive and like, and it's just not. Like, you just like, I can message like any other producer and just be like, oh, like, and I like, even if it's like I'm struggling in process with this, like this isn't working, like, oh, try this, and just everyone's just lovely. Yeah, everyone's just so nice, and all the bands are dead nice. So
if you are listening on Spotify, please do give me a 5-star review. It really does help push content out to more people, and the majority of you are going to be on YouTube. If you are watching this for the first time, check out our past content. There's plenty of bands that Gareth has worked with. Gareth will hopefully work with in the future, that I've done podcasts with, and make sure you do hit that subscribe button. I'm pushing towards the 500 mark. Hopefully I can get there soon. But mate,
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.